What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now it is 1943 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major updates coming in from the Middle East. So what you're looking at here is some new satellite imagery of 6 nuclear-capable bombers in Qatar. These are U.S. Air Force B-52s, and this picture was taken by the Federation of American Scientists along with Planet Labs. So we now have 6 nuclear-capable B-52s in Qatar, guys. These are built to carry nuclear-armed cruise missiles. So this is very, very serious. This is clearly a preparation for some kind of a strike on Iran. Now, these nuclear-capable B-52s could be used to take out Iranian nuclear facilities that are buried deep underground. Each one of these B-52s can carry 16 air-launched cruise missiles that have the W-80 thermonuclear warhead, which has a yield of 200 kilotons. So a massive amount of firepower just between 6 of these. They can launch 100 or so missiles at Iran with nuclear warheads on them. Okay, that is massive. This is extremely serious, guys. Very, very serious. Now, in addition to this, we also have Germany and Russia issuing NOTAMs for Tehran, the capital of Iran, telling pilots to avoid the capital of Iran. So here we have one that was issued by Germany, and they're telling their pilots to avoid the airspace of Tehran through November 12th. It says here, security hazardous situation in Iran. Civil German air operators are recommended not to enter the flight information region Tehran. Potential risk from escalating conflict and anti-aviation weaponry. This NOTAM overrules the recommendation provided in currently applicable AIC. But it says here until November 12th, okay? And then here we have one from Russia. It says, attention Russian air operators, due to civil aviation flight safety hazard, operators are requested to suspend flight operations to and from airports of Israel and Iran, as well as flight operations within the airspace of these states and the Republic of Iraq between 1600 UTC and 0600 UTC, and this is from November 5th through November 17th. Increased piloting alertness and alternate routing as per NOTAM issued by these states in the conduct of flight operations within the respected airspace. So this is for November the 5th through November 17th, okay? So Russia and Germany issuing warnings for pilots to avoid Iranian airspace, Israeli airspace, and Iraqi airspace for the next 1 to 2 weeks. And then we have those nuclear-capable B-52s now in Qatar. And I want to just update you guys on the situation with Trump. So as you guys probably know, Trump will be the new president of the United States. There was a red wave last night. And I want to just read to you what some world leaders said today. They called and congratulated Trump, many of them. Some of them tweeted on Twitter. So we have the Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, saying that the U.S. is an unfriendly country involved in a war against Russia. Putin has no plans to congratulate Trump. And U.S. President Joe Biden spoke to Donald Trump to congratulate him on his victory, while also inviting him to the White House soon for a meeting to discuss the transition of power. And Vice President Kamala Harris spoke by phone earlier today with Trump, where she congratulated him on his victory. And the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said on Twitter, "I just congratulated Donald Trump on his election as President of the United States. His leadership will again be key to keeping our alliance strong. I look forward to working with him again to advance peace through strength." And Zelensky posted like 3 paragraphs on Twitter. He wrote, "Congratulations to Donald Trump on his impressive election victory. I recall our great meeting with President Trump back in September when we discussed in detail the Ukraine-U.S. strategic partnership, the victory plan, and ways to put an end to Russian aggression against Ukraine. I appreciate President Trump's commitment to the peace through strength approach in global affairs. This is exactly the principle that can practically bring just peace in Ukraine closer. I am hopeful that we will put it into action together. We look forward to an era of a strong United States of America under President Trump's decisive leadership. We rely on continued strong bipartisan support for Ukraine in the U.S. We are interested in developing mutually beneficial political and economic cooperation that will benefit both of our nations. Ukraine, as one of Europe's strongest military powers, is committed to ensuring long-term peace and security in Europe and the transatlantic community with the support of our allies. I am looking forward to personally congratulating President Trump and discussing ways to strengthen Ukraine's strategic partnership with the United States." So very interesting statement there. And Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, said, "Congratulations, President Trump, ready to work together as we did for 4 years with your convictions in mind, with respect and ambition for more peace and prosperity." And the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said, "Congratulations on history's greatest comeback. Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America." So just wanted to update you guys on that. And we also have some more news coming out of the Middle East. So Israeli and U.S. intelligence indicates that Iran is planning a significant attack against Israel from Iraqi soil in the coming days, according to Axios. Officials say following the Israeli attack, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has been moving drones and ballistic missiles to Shia militias in Iraq and is planning a joint attack against Israel. And Iraqi media is claiming that security measures and the state of alert at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, as well as bases in both Iraq and eastern Syria, have been increased. And the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, fired his defense minister, Yoav Gallant, in a surprise announcement yesterday. There were big protests in the streets of Tel Aviv afterwards. And former Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant held his final meeting earlier today with the Israeli General Staff, headed by the Israeli Chief of Staff, Herzi Halevi. So Yoav Gallant had his final meeting with all of the Israeli generals. And Ukrainian drones attacked the naval base of the Caspian flotilla of the Russian Navy in Dagestan. That is pretty crazy, guys. Dagestan is completely on the other side of the Caucasus Mountains from Ukraine. Okay, it's literally on the Caspian Sea near Azerbaijan. And Ukrainian drones flew all the way from Ukraine over the Caucasus, and they hit this Caspian flotilla of the Russian Navy in Dagestan. That is absolutely insane. And if you're Russia, you're probably terrified knowing that Ukraine can basically hit your navy almost anywhere now. And the Kursk incursion prevented a Russian plan to invade the Sumy Oblast to create a buffer zone in northern Ukraine, the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's military, Oleksandr Syrsky, said. And Ukraine said on Monday that their forces had fired at North Korean soldiers in combat for the first time since their deployment by Russia to the Kursk region. So this is very crazy, guys. Okay, we literally have thousands of North Korean soldiers now in Europe. Okay, they're literally in Europe fighting against Ukraine. and Ukraine opened fire on them. And Biden is going to rush a $6 billion aid package to Ukraine before Inauguration Day. And Ukrainian authorities reported that Russian forces executed at least 109 Ukrainian prisoners of war since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And Marco Rubio, the Republican senator from Florida, said the Russian war in Ukraine is at a stalemate and it needs to be brought to an end. He said that we are funding a stalemate that's costing lives, and Ukraine is going to take 100 years to rebuild. So very interesting comments there from Rubio. And South Korea's defense ministry website was hit by a DDoS attack, a cyber attack, distributed denial of service attack. And the State Department authorized a foreign military sale to South Korea for the purchase of an E-7 AWACS plane and related elements of logistics and program support for an estimated cost of $5 billion. That's insane, guys. And a new Chinese mobile radar station designed to detect stealth fighters, including the F-35 and F-22, was unveiled at a Chinese military show. Want to just show you guys some flights here. So what you're looking at are two nuclear war command and control planes that were airborne late last night during the election and during the ICBM test. So late last night, the U.S. launched the Minuteman III ICBM, which is one of our main nuclear missiles. And they launched it from Vandenberg Air Force Base, and it landed at the Kwajalein Atoll. And at the same time, we also had a nuke sniffer plane airborne, and then we had an aerial refueler flying over Colorado Springs, which is home of NORAD and the Doomsday Bunker Cheyenne Mountain. But what's interesting is this one nuclear war command and control plane was looping right off the coast of Vandenberg. It had the call sign Gummy 34, and my guess is that they were testing the airborne launch control system. So if you don't know what that is, we have planes that can literally launch nukes from the air, okay? Meaning they can remotely launch all of our land-based ICBMs from the air in the event that, let's say, the launch control centers were to get destroyed in a first strike. They could still be launched from the air remotely. So they probably were testing that system. It's a critical system. We had a sub hunter off the coast of Florida and the Bahamas earlier today, which is pretty unusual. And then we had 3 aerial refuelers doing hundreds of loops here near New Orleans. Very interesting. We also had another U.S. Hurricane Hunter plane flying over the Caribbean, tracking that hurricane that's going to make its way into the Gulf. We have to keep an eye on it. And we had more Russian military aircraft fly to Kaliningrad. Here you can see 2 of them. Very, very concerning. We had a massive amount of reconnaissance over northern and eastern Poland. Here you can see a Polish reconnaissance plane, a Swedish reconnaissance plane, and a NATO reconnaissance plane, all in eastern Poland, right near the border of Belarus and Ukraine. And there's actually a massive concentration of Russian troops here near the city of Brest in western Belarus, and that's probably why we're seeing all these reconnaissance assets here, keeping an eye on them. And then we had this British sub-hunter flying some kind of a search grid in the North Sea. Check this out. This is the first time I've ever seen a British sub-hunter doing this. Look at this. This is a really low-flying aircraft here, and it was doing some kind of a search grid, keeping an eye out for Russian subs. There must have been something here. And then we also had more aerial refuelers go down to the Middle East from the UK. And we also had a NATO AWACS plane in the Adriatic Sea, which is pretty unusual. And also we had some high priority aerial refuelers moved to the UK and Spain last night. We had one with the call sign Gold 11 and another one Gold 12. These are KC-46 Pegasus planes, and they're usually affiliated with some of our strategic bombers. One of them went to Mildenhall and one of them went to Rota. Okay, both of those bases are known to host U.S. strategic bombers. We had a U.S. reconnaissance plane fly all the way up to the Barents Sea last night, and it went all the way to the Kola Peninsula here, where Russia has their northern fleet, and that's where Russia has 2/3 of their nuclear-armed subs. And then after hanging out over here, keeping an eye on the Russian nuclear-armed subs, it went down into Finland along the Russian border. Then it went down through the Baltics and then down into eastern Poland. So something is definitely going on over here in Russia. Russia is potentially planning an invasion of Lithuania to take the Suwałki Gap, which would make a land bridge from Belarus to Kaliningrad. And Putin really needs that land bridge because Kaliningrad is isolated by land, and Russia is basically at the mercy of NATO countries to get any kind of commerce into Kaliningrad unless they go through the Baltic Sea. And here's a picture of Yoav Gallant, the Israeli defense minister, in his final meeting today. Very sad day. I mean, there must be a reason why Netanyahu dismissed him, but I thought he was a good defense minister and he did a lot of good things. So hats off to him. And then here's a picture of the Chinese mobile stealth fighter detection system that can basically drive around and detect stealth fighters. I'm not sure how well this thing will actually work. Could just be some BS for propaganda purposes. Could just be for propaganda purposes, but that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news, and I do have my 24/7 live stream up right now. I'll be checking in and out throughout the rest of the night. I'm going to take the rest of the night easy because last night I was streaming all night long during the election, so I'm a little bit wiped out from that. But I will be back tomorrow with another update, and I will be in and out of the 24/7 stream. So until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewith.nyprepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. But they have 3 months of freeze-dried food with a 25-year shelf life packed into rugged, watertight buckets that you can easily store in a small room for just $700 with free shipping included, and they ship very fast. Also, they're including some freebies. They're going to include a survival Bible, a 424-page survival book, an ultimate preparedness checklist, a natural disaster field guide. They also have a disaster replacement warranty, so if your food gets destroyed in a natural disaster, they will replace it for you with no cost. And also they have a 30-day return policy, no questions asked. So check out My Patriot Supply. Use the link preparewith.nyprepper.com to get 25% off of their 3-month emergency food supply, free shipping included. And the link is in the description below this video.